Okay, now let us proceed to submit standard e-invoice. Okay, so basically in AutoCount, we have new features which is approval workflow. It is a new system logic lah. Okay. Okay, so for this new approval process, by default, it's only enabled for invoice, credit note, debit note, and self-bill. But you also can enable this approval process for other functions such as cash book, journal entry, AR payment, and etc. Okay, and then down here, you need to set unapproved document will be automatically marked as expired after 10 days. Okay, based on the verified date lah. Kalau you letak sini 15 days, and then after you create the document, after 15 days, it will go to expired. Okay. So I show you here tools, and then you go to option. Under general, you go to approval workflow. Okay. So here, by default, this for invoice, credit note, debit note, and self-bill, you cannot change. But others, if you want to add, you can tick lah. If you want the approval workflow. Okay. And then you may set the days here, and then you click OK. Okay, basically, for this document status flow, at first, it has a draft submit for approval, approve button. So if you save as draft, and then you can submit for approval. After submit for approval, it will in awaiting approval status. Okay, and then after you already check the document and then you approve the document, it will go to approved status. Okay, and then after approved, it will automatically submit to LSJN portal. Okay, submit to IRBM. And then if you want to void, make sure the void is within 72 hours. Okay, and if the document is not void, it will return the validation info to AutoCount lah. Okay, if it's valid or invalid, it will update at the AutoCount. Okay, so from draft, you also can direct click approve. Okay, and then if the document that you save as draft is not submit for approval or approved, it will automatically go to expired after the 10 days. If you set for 10 days, after 10 days, it will go to expired. Okay, and then awaiting approval also, if no approved set for that document, after 10 days, it will go to expired. Okay, after expired, you cannot edit the document anymore. Okay. So there are two types of users. So normally we advise our customer to create a new user for the approval. Okay. So normally other stuff as a requester. So as requester, you only can save as draft or submit for approval. Okay, awaiting approval. But for approval, it can use the function for approved, reject, draft, and approve. Okay. Later we will see. Once expired, can I void? Okay, later we will see in the system. Okay. So after you upgrade to the latest version and then enable the e-invoice, you will have this tab. First is all, and then draft or rejected, and then awaiting approval, approved, void, and expired. Okay. Okay, and then if you click inside your invoice entry, it will show the document status. Either it is draft, approved, or expired, or void. Okay. Okay, and then you also can check the document status change log. Okay, you can right click the document and then you can see either it is straightly approved or is it saved as awaiting approval and then approved. You can see the change log for that document. Okay. Okay, and then after you save as draft, if you have multiple documents that save as draft on that day, let's say you have for 40 documents. So after you check all documents, you check all, and then you can approve for all the documents to submit to my invoice portal. Okay. Okay. So now let me show you. Go to sales, invoice. Okay. So now I have access as approved. So my entry will have save as draft, approve, approve and preview, approve and print, and cancel. Okay. But if I log in as another user that I set, that user cannot approve. Sales, invoice. So this user don't have the approved access, right? So it only can save as draft and preview, save as draft and print, and submit for approval. Okay, so this user is not allowed to approve the document. Okay, and kindly remember, after approve, you cannot amend the document again. So make sure before approve, you need to check all the details, make sure it's all is correct lah. Okay, and then here at this column, you can see we have submit e-invoice status. So this will show either your document is valid, invalid, or cancelled. If the document is blank, it is considered to submit as consolidate. Okay, so after the document is valid, it will show the e-invoice validation link. Okay. Okay. So here you can see, this is the draft and reject the document, because this document is I save as draft. Okay, and then this document I submit for approval. Okay, and then for this two tab, you can check all the document and then you click approve. Okay, let's say I want to approve this document. We go to approved. So this is the invoice that I submit just now. Pending. So it shows invalid because the date is 15th of November. Okay, so you can see the detail if you click inside. Okay, if the document is invalid, submission failed, the issuance date time value of the document is too old. That cannot be submitted. Okay, so you need to make sure that the date of submission cannot backdate more than 3 days. Okay, so this will be the sequence for the approved document lah. Okay, as you can see here, it will skip for the document that is not approved lah. Okay, once it already approved, it will continue the running number here. Okay, I show you one document that I submit to E-Invoice portal. So I choose my debtor. Okay, and then date is today. And I choose the item. And then I want to sell iPhone. And then the classification code is 003. Okay, and then the unit price I put 100. Okay, and then I straight click approve. Okay, after approve, it shows pending status. And then you need to click refresh. And then after refresh, it is submitted. And then you click refresh key, it is valid. Now the document is already valid from the My Invoice portal lah. Okay, so if the document is valid, if you view, it will show here approved and e-invoice status is valid. Okay, you can also preview this document. You choose the Invoice Malaysia e-invoice. This format, you can have the QR code. Okay, if you preview, it will show the LSTM validated link. So this link is compulsory in the document that you want to share to your customer. Okay, other field like email or TIN number and IC number is not compulsory to put in the document that you want to share to your customer. The compulsory features is only the LSTM validated link. Okay. Okay, so just now I show you that there are some change log status. So you can right click. Here you can see view document status change log. So for this document, I straight save and approved. Okay, so let's say I got another document. Okay, so for this document, first I save as draft. Okay, and then got approved. Okay, so this one will show you the user ID for save as draft and the user ID for approve. Okay. Let us see for scenario 1. Scenario 1 is for local business. Okay, so first thing, you need to update the thing for local business. Okay, you need to choose local business and then category is business. And then make sure the T is no spacing between the numbers and the character. Between the C2443203020, make sure there is no spacing. Okay, if there is spacing, this will be cause the problem that you cannot submit to My Invoice portal. Okay, and then make sure the BRN is only the new SSM. The old one you don't need to fill in at here. Okay, and then for the MSIC code, if the buyer not provide the MSIC code, you need to put 5 digit of 00000. Okay, and then make sure the registered name is correct. Okay, and then no spacing is allowed for the phone number. Okay, make sure there is no spacing. And then for address, you need to make sure the maximum is only 3 lines. Okay, and then you don't need to put the postcode, city, state, and country at the address because the information will be filled in at this column here. For postcode, city, state, and country. Okay. After you update the theme for the local business, okay, so here is the sample valid e-invoice for the local business. Okay, it will prompt the LHDN validated link after LHDN has validated the document. So I show again. Let's say I choose this adapter, which is the thing is wrong lah. Okay. We show pending status and then refresh, submitted. Okay, so the e-invoice status is invalid because the customer TIN is invalid because just now I put a dummy TIN number. So it will show invalid. If you preview this document, it will now show the QR code. So there will be no LSTN validated link for this document. Okay, so next, let us proceed to the scenario 2, which is local and foreign individual. Okay, for this local and foreign individual, we will refer at the consolidated e-invoice, which is this one where the individual request for e-invoice. Okay, normally for individual, they don't need the standard e-invoice. Only if they request, we need to send the standard e-invoice to them lah. Okay, so this will be see at the next part. Okay, for scenario 3, which is export business. Okay, for export business, make sure that you update the thing for export business. Okay, for export business, it's normally for foreign business, right? So you need to choose for foreign business, and then category is business, and then the TIN number, you just leave it blank. Okay, if TIN is not provided, leave it blank, and EI9030 will be automatically filled in for this buyer. Okay, so you don't need to fill in at the TIN here, just leave it blank. Okay, and then BRN, also leave it blank because foreign business don't have the BRN, right? And then the MSIC code, if the buyer don't provide the MSIC code, you put 5-digit 0, okay? 00000. Okay? So the business activity description is not applicable, NA. Okay? Registered name, you put the correct name, AutoCount Philippines. This is a sample. And then the phone number, make sure no spacing. And then the address maximum is 3 lines. And same as previous TIN number, no need to put postcode, city, and state and country. Okay? Okay, so let me show you. I have my foreign buyer. Okay, so this is the tax entity. So not foreign business. And then T number, you leave it blank, BRN blank. Okay, and then MSIC code 00000. Okay, so this one is the postcode, city, state, and country. Okay, and then I go to invoice, click new, and then I submit for my foreign buyer. And straight click. Now you can see that the document is already valid. Okay, so this one is for foreign business. Okay, next is standard e-invoice scenario 4 for government related. Okay, so for government, same, you need to update theme for government statutory. Okay, first you select the category for government, and then the theme also you leave it blank. And then BRN also blank, and then put 5-digit 0 for MSIC code, and then registered name, you put the registered name, such as Majlis Bandaraya Ibu, phone number, address, postcode, city, state, and country. Okay? Okay. And then this one is example for my government. So you need to fill in the tax entity for this, the government. And then you go to sales, invoice, new. Choose my government. make sure the classification code is filled in and then approve. Refresh, submitted, valid. Okay, so here are the scenario for submit for government. Okay, so now let us see scenario 5 for a specific industry that mandate E-Invoice. So basically, this special industry that mandate E-Invoice, such as automotive, luxury goods, construction materials, payment to agents or dealer or distributor, aviation, construction, or betting and gaming, they are required to submit standard E-Invoice. They are not allowed to submit consolidate. So every transaction, they need to submit standard E-Invoice. Okay, so for this special industry, you need to untick allow consolidate E-Invoice for this kind of industry, okay? Because for this function, if you tick, you will allow to create consolidate E-Invoice. So for these special industries, need to untick, okay? If this option is turned off, then every invoice must provide tax entity so that it can be submitted for E-Invoice, okay? And then if you try to submit for your customer that didn't provide the tax entity ID or IC or PRN, you cannot submit this document to my invoice portal. Okay. Okay. Next is standard e-invoice scenario 6. Okay. Which is business related to construction material. Okay. So there are few challenges faced by hardware wholesaler or retailer. Okay. Because there are few certain construction materials that require them to submit standard e-invoice. Okay, as you can see here, for wholesaler and retailers of construction materials, sales of construction materials regardless of volume sold in the 4th Schedule of Lembaga Pembangunan Industri Pembinaan Malaysia Act 1994. So these are lists of the item. You need to scan this QR code to see the list of items that require for standard e-invoice. Okay. So, such as insulation material, glass, float glass, safety glass, white glass, cement, staircase. So, these documents are required to submit e-invoice. So, AutoCount have the function, which is you can edit the stock item. Let's say it is hardware. It is listed in the 4th schedule for submit e-invoice. You need to tick must generate e-invoice. Okay. So, if you want to sell this document to your customer, once you approve, it will show document consists of hardware that must generate e-invoice. Please provide tax entity. So if customer didn't provide the tax entity, you cannot submit this e-invoice lah. Okay. Okay. So I go through. This now is rules option. Okay, if you are from that special industry, make sure you untick this one. Okay, but once I already tick, I cannot untick because I got some consolidated e-invoice document is found. Hence, anti-consolidated invoice is not allowed. So this one need to set up at the first before you start submit the invoice. Okay. And then for stock, okay, as you can see, I have cement here, and then this cement, I have tick must generate e-invoice. Okay. So if I want to sell this item to my customer, let's say it's a cash customer. So they didn't provide tin, right? So I choose cement. And if I want to approve, it will show document consists item that must generate e-invoice. Does not allow consolidated e-invoice. So you need to get the tin for this customer first. Okay, only you can save. Okay. Okay, next scenario is other related issues. Okay, so other related issues to standard e-invoice is cancelled. Okay, and then you need to make sure if you want to cancel document, it is within the 72 hours. Okay, so if you want to cancel the document that within the 72 hours, so this one I got document from 4th of December. So I want to cancel this document. And same thing report. So now the e-invoice status is already cancelled after you void the invoice. Okay. So this document I managed to cancel because it is within the 72 hours. Okay. Okay. And then if you want to uncancel, before this in AutoCount, you have the void and unvoid function, right? After you upgrade to the latest version, there is no unvoid document anymore. So if you want to do amendment, you need to issue CN, okay? And then if you wish to cancel the document after 72 hours, it will not allow you to cancel. Okay, let's say I have this document from October. Okay, if I want to void, okay. So cancel document error. Document cannot be cancelled after 72 hours of submission. So once you cannot cancel the document, you need to transfer this invoice to CN. Okay, you cannot cancel, you only can do CN and then submit to my invoice portal. Okay. Okay, and then backdated invoice after 72 hours. Okay, this one, let's see. I have my debtor. Today is 12 72 hours. 12. So this one is backdated 72 hours, right? Okay. So here you can choose issue date time. So issue date time empty. If issue date time is equal to the document date. Okay. So if you want to issue the date time on the 1st of December, you need to blank the date time lah. Okay. So because I want to submit for this 1st of December, which is backdated more than 72 hours. Okay. So I click approve. Okay. And then after pending, press just now. So okay, so this function you can use if the date of the document is 1st of December, but you want to submit today. So you may use this edit button and then e-invoice issued date time, and then you fill in the date of today. Okay. And then generate invoice for future date. So this is not allowed. Okay. So you cannot generate invoice for future date. Okay. Let's say I want to generate invoice. of December. Okay. Document date cannot submit future date time. Okay. 6 December 2024, 12 AM. So you're not allowed to save lah. Okay. And then edit validate invoice. So this one is also not allowed. So after validated, you are not allowed to edit the invoice anymore. Okay. You cannot edit the invoice anymore. Okay. And then delete validate e-invoice. Okay. After validated, if you want to delete the invoice, you are not allowed to delete the e-invoice document. Okay. Once validated, you only can void if it is within 72 hours. And after 72 hours, you need to issue CN. Okay. So standard e-invoice, issue related to standard e-invoice. So here are regarding disbursement and reimbursement. Okay, so reimbursements are out-of-pocket expenses that the seller incurs while providing goods and service to the buyer, which the buyer then reimburses to the seller. Okay, while for disbursement is out-of-pocket expenses that the seller pays to the third party in relation with goods sold or service provided to the buyer. Okay, means for disbursement, the e-invoice, the third party is direct submit to the buyer. So the payer will not required to issue e-invoice. Okay, so later I will show you in the illustration. Okay, so let's see the illustration 9, where a landlord conduct business. Landlord is required to issue e-invoice to tenant, including utility charges issued to landlord. Okay, let's say for here, Omega Properties is a property developer, owns multiple commercial shop lots. Okay, and then one of the shop lot is rented to Kedai Electronic Smart Gadget. Okay, so Smart Gadget pays for its own utility bills, but the bill issued to Omega Properties. So Omega Properties is a business required to issue invoice to Smart Gadget for the rental and utility charges. So for rental, the classification code will be others 0 to 2, and for utility will be 0 to 7 reimbursement. Okay. Okay. So here is the sample invoice that the Omega Properties need to issue to the Kedai Electronic. Okay. So for rental, the classification code is 0 to 2. And then for utility bills, the classification code is 0 to 7 for reimbursement. Okay. And then another illustration, which is a single e-invoice that includes the service fee and cost is issued to the buyer, where the e-invoice are issued to the seller. Okay, contohnya, like perniagaan Adiba hires an event planner to organize their business product launch celebration. Okay, so the event planner rents a hotel ballroom for 30,000 ringgit for the launch event, and the hotel issue invoice to the event planner. Okay, and then so the event planner need to issue an e-invoice to the perniagaan Adiba for her event planning service and the reimbursement for the hotel ballroom rental. So basically for event planning service is code 0 to 2 lah, others. And then for hotel rental will be reimbursement 0 to 7. Okay, because this is out of her pocket expenses. Okay, so for this event planner, 0081. So you can see that the event planner need to issue e-invoice to Puan Adiba, which is the first one is hotel rental 0 to 2 and event planning fees, which is 0 to 7. Okay. Okay. For the e-invoice, okay, if the customer is not required to have the standard, not request for standard e-invoice, and for non-business related, so later we will show you that the invoice will submit as consolidated. Okay, so this one is for consolidated e-invoice, which is for the company or individual that don't provide the TIN or IC number or BRN. Okay, so later we will see how to submit the consolidated e-invoice. Okay, so next, illustration 40, which is no e-invoice is required for payments made on behalf. Okay, so DEF company hires HR hiring for requirement service, and HR hiring issued e-invoice to DEF. Okay, they should have issued e-invoice to DEF, but ABC company, which is the DEF parent company, he helped to pay on behalf for DEF. So later, DEF will pay to ABC back in full. Okay, so as an ABC company, so it is not required to issue e-invoice either to ABC or the HR hiring. And HR hiring also no need to issue invoice to ABC because there is no transaction concluded between these parties. Okay, the HR hiring submit invoice to DF is enough already. Okay.